Welcome to the Solemn Vanguard channel. Today is kind of a different video. 2 months ago, right after BCS London where I got top 8, I kind of had this idea. What if from now on, so 2 months ago, I started practicing my ass off to get to Worlds. And so I set out to vlog the very journey of analyzing the meta, practicing, building decks, trying various options. Basically, the whole journey from nothing to being qualified for Worlds. And the plan was, if it works out, I upload it, and if it doesn't work out, I don't. And so it worked out. I hope this is interesting to maybe learn from, to maybe see overall the thoughts and the evolution, and just in general get a behind the scenes look of what was going on this past 2 months leading up to BCS France. You will not only see the good ideas, but you will also see my very, very bad ideas and failed experiments along the way. Hope you enjoy. It is Wednesday, September 26th. I just got back from London BCS where I got top 8 in Premium. And being the overly obsessive person that I am, I now want to go for more. Seeing as I love Premium, I would really like to go to Worlds. But for that you don't just need to hit top 8, you need to hit top 3. So I made myself a challenge, qualify for the Premium World Championship of Vanguard. And I guess I will just try. So one thing I'm really noticing in this current meta post AL4. Obviously the Dark Irregular combo with Assassin, but then Gize is still doing phenomenally well. So I believe the matchups that I really have to look out for right now are still OTT Gize, Dark Irregular with the Assassin Rush, Ange, and maybe Spike Brothers. Now I will also have to keep in mind that I did post my own top 8 Grand Blue list, and so we might see a slight uptick in Grand Blue in Premium in Europe because it just stopped because of me. One interesting thing is that I also see Ripple Rush in Aqua Force doing well. I'm not sure if that is even a viable option to play myself. I know for sure that I won't be playing Gize. Okay, so right now I am about to start my playtesting journey. So I'm running Grand Blue still. I don't know if that's going to be the best option. I'm going to be playtesting against, oh man, the world champion of Vanguard last year. By the way, Daniel, if you're seeing this, thank you so much. He'll be piloting Dark Irregulars, which is also an option that I might end up playing. I'll try Grand Blue. I just really want to get a feel for how realistic that matchup even is. Like, can Grand Blue win that matchup? So I just finished playing against world champion Daniel Herrera. It's now 1 hour and a half past midnight, which is very late. It was a very long session. Basically, conclusion, Grand Blue is good, but it won't be able to keep up with Gize consistently enough for me to qualify for Worlds with it, given that the top tables will be Gize. Dark Irregular, the new stuff is insane, so I will likely be playing that. But more analysis will be needed regardless. It is high up on the list of possibility. Day 2 of Solemn gets to Worlds. This is my PDF with proxies that I will be printing out very soon, push into my current Sherrod deck, and then hopefully have some really good IRL playtesting as well. So, I've done some playtesting at locals with the deck proxied, of course, and I'm starting to notice some problems. Basically, it is very high roll. Like, if you get lucky, then of course you auto win. There is nothing your opponent can do. But if you don't, like, the deck is dead. You deck out, you don't get all your assassins, you don't have any defensives. Like, sure, you have protect markers, that's all fun and games, but when you literally have only a few cards in deck, like, you're done with. And now some people will say, oh, play Blader Mouse. But the problem with that is that he also charges back your assassins and then checks so many drive checks and you play so many draws. So you use Blader Mouse to get another turn, but then your deck is empty yet again and you don't have your assassins. Like, There is so much wrong with this build right now, and it's one that topped, so I think the only way this guy topped with this list is literally sacking. I'm gonna get rid of the new heals. I think it's very greedy. The new power doesn't do shit because this deck doesn't want to win on trigger power gains. I also think that G-guarding allows you to first of all counter charge, which you need. Like if you don't have your cats, you die because you don't have the counter blast to do your combo. So I want to run the counter charge heals, or you can also soul charge with them if you were to be very close to the combo but just don't have enough. So I'm gonna be playing this card instead of the new one because I don't think the new one is necessary. And then I will also plop in the Bladewing engine like I saw some people do, and hopefully that fixes some of the issues, let's say. These are essentially the spicy decks I'm trying out. This is so I don't deck out, or if I have him and an Enigmatic in hand, that means I can use him and an Enigmatic immediately set up upon riding. This is to just go and fetch Enigmatic. Upon further inspection whilst playing this deck, this card only works with a Darkness Vanguard. Oh, that is too bad. This deck is so incredibly bricky. What the fuck? I really don't know how to fix it. So with that one tech gone, like that tech was working well. I'm so sad it doesn't work without the Darkness Vanguard. Now one thing I'm considering is, what if you start your game with Enigmatic Assassin? Kinda the same philosophy I used for Grand Blue. You start the deck with the card you really need in Soul, like Grenache. You don't get the +1 from your starting Vanguard. That's true, but like, is that worth a +1? I think considering how bricky the deck is, it is. And it also opens up one more space in your grade 1, 2 or 3 slots, which might actually make the consistency better. So, yesterday I had some more playtesting. I was on my way to the locals, and yet again I just felt like the deck wasn't that consistent. So then I started talking to Andrew, the Gizeh player who beat me in top 8 in London. Because he's actually a Dark Irregular fanatic, like he had topped with Dark Irregular I think in Spring Fest, and then before that he keeps topping as well. And so we basically agree that the deck is quite bricky, and then we discussed the other options Dark Irregular have. Essentially, what if I just played a Darkness build that then teched in Assassins and Death Anchor, and it's just an alternate win con rather than the win con? I think there's definitely something to be said for the power of Baleful Repressor and Balaam, and then also something Andrew told me about a Werebear Vervolger, the common, which also like is basically a Skull Dragon, and that together with Gusty, like there's some crazy stuff you can do. I'm already playing Gusty, as you know, in my deck right now. Gusty taking over Free Traveler and Demonted Executioner is really insane. You like immediately get Assassins. The question then is, do you get to fill your soul itself as well? The Darkness is also more versatile, like in general. It can go up against more matchups, it doesn't have to be so high roll. But is it good enough to compete with what's already out there? I really don't know. Another thing we talked about was that you actually, against Gizeh, want to be on Sharod, because he can empty your field, like he can get rid of Baleful, which forces them to attack you. So then the question is, do we play Sharod like as a 2-off so that we can ride him in the Gizeh matchup? But then, well, as a 2-off you can't search him, and War Tiger Jaeger doesn't search. So do we then have to play Succubus of Pure Love again to fetch him? That's already taking him up a lot of grade 1 space because we want to play Jaeger still. Dark Irregulars, man. Like, I really wish Assassin was just banned so that the loop was no longer part of the conversation, because right now the viability and the validity of the deck is completely built upon that loop, and I think we could have a much better conversation if that just wasn't part of the thing at all. So I'm like, should I play Luard? But then they also only have 4 grade 3s. Like, I hate Luard for the fact that that inconsistent bit really kills the deck. I gotta figure this out somehow, but right now I really don't know. So right now we are October. I am almost done with a book on Yu-Gi-Oh! Game theory. It's actually proving pretty interesting. It's mostly teaching me things that I already knew, but then like solidifying them. Now, I made a very interesting document. Basically, I looked at all the tops in Japan and English, and then listed every single top deck. Every single deck that I could be seeing in the tournament in France. Apart from that, I playtested even more Dark Irregulars. I am now 100% sure that the Assassin loop is broken beyond belief, but inconsistent as fuck. It will top tournaments because you will have 10 people joining with set deck, and then 9 of them will brick and 1 of them won't, and that guy wins the tournament. That's all there is to it. I can't play that deck because you have to be incredibly lucky to top with it. It's also not, like, it's skill intensive in a way. The floor is high, but the ceiling is not. I am able to play it, that is no issue. But I'm not able to play it consistently because the deck just isn't built for it. So I'm not bringing NLK. I think I've built at least 6 versions of the deck by now, not including small decks, and it's not very consistent. So currently I have a Dark Irregular deck that I'm trying out. I kinda homebrewed it together with Andrew. We both concluded, like, yes, the NLK Assassin loop is good, but it's not consistent. Okay, maybe we should try another boss monster. The 2 for grabs, let's say, were Demon Eater and Ghoulish Despoiler. Ghoulish is definitely the better card. Just the fact that the damn card has access to everything is so nuts. At any given moment, no matter what you soul charge, the second you ride, you have access to that card, apart from grade 3s. That is really good. That is like Imperial Daughters on ride, but on steroids, since you usually have access to 10 plus cards. So that's really good. There's plenty of combos and extensions you can even do that with that card. So that DI build is an option. There's a few more combos you can do. Obviously, like, if I end up taking that deck, I will do an in-depth deck profile of like an hour. I really don't know. Another deck that I'm considering now is, I just bought it actually. I bought Ange of someone. I made a deal this Saturday. I'm at BCS Keulen. Little secret, I think Ange is the best deck of the format. It counters the most decks and it is countered by the least amount of decks. Another option may be Grand Blue, because if Luard starts fucking Kize, then suddenly my Grand Blue deck has literally no counters anymore apart from the Assassin loop. Finally, I also have Luard itself, if I'm so afraid of Gize. And I also have blasters, but I believe Luard is incredibly overhyped. If it doesn't get Dragfall Luard, it automatically dies. So I don't know, I could take 5 decks right now. It is now time to build a gauntlet. And it's actually a term in Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially what a gauntlet is you take a big box, you build a template version of every single meta deck. And now I say template version because generally I homebrew. Not in the sense that I take the most rogue deck, but I will build a deck from zero rather than just net decking the best list. Because overall, and this is what I noticed, the decks that top aren't necessarily good builds. And so, just like with my Grand Blue list, like, it had quite a few different changes in it that ended up getting me that top. And those changes weren't the conventional things you saw in Grand Blue lists. It might be fun to make techie improved versions of every deck, but that's not what you will be meeting at the event. If you don't expect to meet the deck in that build, why would you be testing against it? That's why the Gauntlet, the collection of those meta decks, will be purely net decked template decks. And then the decks that I pilot will be my homebrews. And that's how I practice, because 80% of the tournament players will be the people who play the average template decks rather than the theory crafted homebrews. So we're currently October 8th or 9th by now. It's 2 in the morning. I just had some playtesting against my friend Noman. He piloted Luard, he piloted Gize, basically trying out that alternative Dark Irregular deck, and it worked really well. Like, whoa, the one where bear tech together with Gastille. That's spicy. I think that's gonna be the key to beating Gize. And then, I don't know, it just feels really solid. I'm gonna keep testing it, keep trying out things with the build. Overall, it's just a really solid toolbox. It really feels like my Grand Blue build, play-wise, like the play style. It's subtle, but it's really the same. We'll keep trying. I really want to test Ange. I'm really afraid that their abundance of G cards may be too much. So, I guess I'm not doing the best job of keeping you updated. We are currently 22nd of October, 23rd, I don't know. Me and Noman have been practicing, I think 3 or 4 times a week, just a lot of practice, trying out all the decks, trying out the gauntlet, basically all the meta decks with the builds that we assume we'll be seeing at the tournament, going at each other, seeing what's really the best deck of the format right now. I think right now some things people are starting to notice is that NLK Loop is really good, but very inconsistent. Like, it can really go wrong. And so I don't know if I will see a lot of NLK Loop in France. I don't know if France has a meta that catches up that quickly, let's say, with the world. But overall they are, I'd say, some of the best players in Europe. So by now, NLK Loop is basically off the table as an option. I need to hit top 3. And so some NLK Loop will hit top, definitely. But it's not sure that it'll be me, because of how inconsistent the deck is. And so I don't want to take it. So I need to bring a deck that can actually beat NLK Loop. And then also everything else. But primarily the ability to beat NLK Loop is extremely important. And so Grand Blue is out of the question. It's too slow, it gives them all the time they need. I need a deck that has early presence, but then also has a consistency to beat everything else on the field. So I've decided for Luard right now, and the thing is, boy, I actually hated Luard as an option, because I was always under the impression that, fuck, you play 4 grade 3s, if you don't get it, you automatically lose, and that is true to an extent, but I figured out this list, and both together with Noman, and also looking at what Japan was doing, and just a really interesting list that actually has this early game that makes it possible. And so I'll show you the list, and there's still a few things I'm really considering, but overall things are going well, and we'll see if the list changes as the days progress, as more testing happens. So this is the list. Right now the biggest issue is, do you run him or do you run him, and then how does this play into it, and like overall you have like 5 decks in here. Well, I do. I don't know if anyone else does, but you have 5 deck slots where you just put stuff that you may need. And then there's a big question, do you run the Fulba or the Karen? If I top 3 or something, or top 8 even, I'll definitely make a deck profile going over why I went with one over the other, but right now I'm still just testing. Everything else is pretty much set though. Like, most of these choices are fucking, I don't know, after actual testing they are very obvious. Overall, the main reason why I thought Luard sucked was because I didn't understand how complex it really is. Like, there's a huge difference between someone who just picked up Luard and someone who mastered it. The amount of choices you need to make at all times that actually matter 2 or 3 turns down the road are really intense. It actually reminds me of Night Rose in the Time Leap Vanguard Night Rose meta. Like, there were only a few people who actually mastered that deck and they topped. And this is the same with Luard. At first I legit thought people topping with Luard just fucking sacked their way out of everything, but it's a really complex deck, so I hope I can master it before France. Today is the 29th of October. We are about 2 weeks away from BCS France. For the past month, I have been practicing against some of the best players I know, including Daniel Herrera, world champion last year, Noman, Irfan, damn, I suck with last names. I've been looking at the meta in Japan, every single topping list I analyzed, every single fucking meta game change I looked at. I don't think I have missed a single result in Premium the past 2 months. And so the past month especially, I have been paying attention because Japan had the AL4 meta, and that is the meta in which I will be competing. I currently have 3 decks to choose from, with which I believe I can beat every single meta deck. These 3, right here, are my Dark Irregular deck, which is essentially the No Life King loop. However, it is a homebrew. As you may notice this Stride Fodder, I don't believe War Tiger Jaeger is the best choice, for the simple reason that once you start cutting all the darkness, as you should, because you want to get your combo off, well, War Tiger is never fucking live. And so that is an option for me. However, this loop deck, the NLK loop, is still quite inconsistent, and so I know in France the NLK loop will top, but I don't know if it will be me because of that inconsistency, and so that's why I'm not sure if I want to bring that. The next option, which is Ange, is not a homebrew. It is essentially Kevin Ajolt's list, because I feel like he's the person that invented this whole thing. He homebrewed this and it was awesome. I really like this build. There is, barring some choices in the G zone and some trigger lineup stuff, there is nothing that this deck could improve upon, and so I did try to change it. I did try various options. It is very strong, but I don't know if it's able to deal well with NLK loop. Which brings us to my final deck build option, again a homebrew, and that is Luard. My Luard build, just like my NLK build, is a homebrew. Again, it was built from the ground up, so this build has gone through maybe 8 iterations, maybe more, and like 1 card changes are not iterations in my opinion. This has gone through actual major change. Same for the NLK loop. The I deck, by the way, at one point was actually a goalish despoiler deck. It was made together with Andrew, who beat me out of top 8 in London with his Gizeh deck. He's a really big Dark Irregular fanatic, and so that was interesting, but I don't think it's the right choice for France. So now we're here. I have 2 weeks to prepare. I have spent the past months learning the meta so fucking deeply, you can't even imagine. I came down to these 3 decks to go top 3 in France and qualify for Worlds. So now the next step, I have to play hundreds upon hundreds of games with these 3 decks to see which one has the best chance of giving me that top 3. And here, special thanks to Noman, who's helping me out as my sparring partner, let's say. I have a feeling that I won't be picking Ange. I also have a feeling that it's gonna be Luard, purely because this build I created is really consistent. Like, whew, I am liking this build a lot. The NLK loop is more explosive, but if it doesn't go off, well. So on the topic of solved decks, why is the difference between a solved deck and an unsolved deck so important? Essentially, a solved deck is what you have when the best deck, the best build, has been established, and within said build, almost nothing can be changed. For Ange right now, that is basically the case. Kevin Ajolt's build is the build. For NLK and Luard, that is not the case at all. Every single topping list is hugely different. This is extremely relevant because once you start getting into the higher tables, you start from the assumption that both players are playing flawlessly. Yes, so you can no longer win on skill. That is the assumption you make. So you start from the assumption both players are playing flawlessly. Then there's only 2 more factors that can actually influence your win. That is variance and who has the better deck. Now, if a deck is solved, that means everyone will likely be running the same deck if they have any sense. And again, since you are assuming you'll be at top tables, you'll be playing against people that have sense and thus have the best build for said deck. This means that if you currently go into Ange with a tournament and you are using the best build, the solved build, you know you will have 4 or 5 or even more Ange players using said exact build as well. So once you get into top tables, and I don't mean top 8, but literally just the higher tables because you're 3-0 at some point or something, that means you will be facing off against players with the exact same deck that don't make misplays, and from there it's just variance. You do not want to let topping rely on variance. That's why you want to have the best deck. So if you take a solved deck to a tournament, you are essentially saying, hey, I will be winning this tournament off variance. Well, maybe that's not really fair to say, because you will still be beating lower rounds on skill and on a better deck. But once you get to top tables, it is up to variance. Unless the tournament is so filled with players making subpar plays, well, then your top is free, I guess, but let's not assume such things. That's why right now, I actually really want to bring Luard or DI, because neither of those lists are solved. I start from the assumption that I can make the best list for the meta I will be playing in, and thus there is potential for me to be running the better deck than other players. So why is Luard not solved? Well, you have a lot of things that are different across different topping lists. So some people are still playing the 1 or 2 of Dragheart Luards. I think that's wrong, but it's still something that's being done. Then you have your 4 Dagda slots, which everyone runs. Then you have your 4 Blaster Dark slots, which almost everyone runs, but not everyone seems to agree on that. Some people want to not play it. I think the card is so fucking busted, you should be playing it. And then you have one more space for grade 2s, let's say, where you have Slaptail, maybe Bloodmaster if you want to use it in the main combo, and maybe Cursed Lancer. So that's 3 cards that could be inhabiting that grade 2 slot. Then we go into the grade 1 options where everyone plays Ezras, everyone plays Fwamnach, but then you have people playing the main, you have people playing Javelin, and then you have 5 or so more tech slots where you are basically playing whatever you think will be relevant for the meta. Abyssal Owl, Javelin, Dylad, Honolly, maybe Charon, and so a combination of those cards. So again, that is not solved. Almost no one runs the same grade 1 lineup, just like no one runs the same grade 2 lineup. Then we get into triggers, again, where some people are playing 6 stands, others are playing 4 stands. Then there's people playing 4 Belials, there's people playing 2 Belials, there's people playing draws, there's people playing countercharge soul charge heals, there's people playing new heals, there's people playing a combination. And in the G zone, everything is different as well. So Luard is like the least solved fucking deck there is. And then for NLK, same story. First we have the 4 NLK, of course everyone fucking runs that, but then your second grade 3 slots, we have people playing Demon Eater, we have people playing Sullivan, we have people playing 9-Break Hustler, we have people playing Gaulish D-Spoiler, and I honestly think Gasti is pretty good in that slot as well, so like what the fuck? Not solved at all. Then in the grade 2 slots there's people playing Demonted Executioner, Bobo, Tragic Claw, Gwyn, Rootfen, and Free Traveler, 6 grade 2s, something like that, and people are just fucking making combinations out of those. In the grade 1 slots, same fucking shit. We have people playing Dimension Creeper, we have people playing the Wolf, we have people playing Tiger Jaeger. I think that's wrong. I think you should be playing Succubus of Pure Love, because almost none of the cards you run are Darkness. Then there's people playing Vukalakas, which almost everyone does. Then there's some people playing Serpent Charmer, and some people playing Harpuya. Finally, some people play 3 Enigmatic, some people play 4, and some people play 4 together with a new starter. Some people start on Enigmatic Assassins. There are some people playing crits. Not everyone runs crits. Quite a lot of people play anywhere between 4 and 8 draws. Usually those are draw PGs, and then you can either play a Hysteric Shirley, the old one, or the new one. So do you want a higher defensive trigger, or do you want the turboing into your soul charge stuff? Then there's people playing new heals for defensive, or the CCSC heals because they want the resources. So again, this deck is not solved at all. There is not one build, like fucking NLK has so many fucking builds stopping. Whereas Ange is just Ange. That build is solved. The only thing you may actually consider is whether you play some draws in it or not. So I don't want to take Ange, because I would be playing the exact same build as every other Ange player. The question then becomes, if I make the objectively superior Luard or NLK list, is it strong enough to beat the solved Ange list? Because if it is not, why would I take it? Those are basically my thoughts. And that is what I need to be testing even more the coming 2 weeks before France. Overall though, I do think I have the solved list for Luard and NLK. Then it just becomes which one of the two do I play, and that's what we'll be seeing very, very soon. Fuck! So, 2 days ago, me and Noman did a BCS simulator. It was a very interesting idea from him, actually. Essentially, we pretended like I was playing in a BCS. So I had my 2 buys already. Nice. And then I started playing against random opponents. And so in the first round, I played against a blaster deck, I think, assuming that in those first rounds, I can still see some rogue stuff like a blaster, an Ichitom, stuff like that. And then as I progress, I start facing the actual top meta decks, let's say. So from there, it's Anj, NLK, Luard, stuff like that. And so I went 6-2, and then we assumed I didn't bubble and somehow got into top 8, let's say, just for the practice. And then there, I was defeated in top 8. So what this taught me is that the deck doesn't have a very perfect likelihood of actually topping the BCS. And so now I'm like, shit, do I stay with Luard? Because I actually assumed I'm going with Luard. I feel like Anj is too solved, NLK is a bricky fuckfest, and then Luard was the thing. Okay, Luard, it can rush hard enough with Blaster Dark in the main to beat the NLK matchup, and then against Anj you need to high roll a little bit, but still, that wasn't the case. Sure, I made 2 misplays, I believe, that were pretty important, but I was just being too greedy. It was 2 in the morning, CFA so clunky, but regardless, I did not get top 3. So that really was a wake-up call, because I have been fucking playtesting so damn much, I felt like it was already in the bag, and that it's not a good thing. I feel like my Luard build is perfect right now, but I don't think Luard is good enough to win the BCS consistently. So now I have 5 deck options actually. And you know the funny part? We just had the result from Philippines where Gredora Geese got the first place. And 2 days before that I told Noman, hey man, I have this idea to make a Gredora Geese deck. And he was like, what? And so it was Gredora and Antlion, so you have the backup win con with machining Zoa, but then primarily you just Optyrandus spam until you go Geese, and then that's what fucking topped. So I'm like, what? Should I play this? So I bought a Gredora deck, and now Gredora Geese is in the potential, I guess. But Gredora Geese has issues, because NLK is faster than you can do Optyrandus, and so then you're fucked. What does this mean? Essentially, for Gredora to be a viable thing, you need to go first, you need to ride Gredora, and then you need to G-guard so you can Optyrandus on first stride while they're still doing the first Balam. That is not likely. That is not likely at all. Finally, I also built a new Grand Blue deck that rushes towards Megiddo by second stride. So that is also an option. I can have fun with that, especially considering it also has access to the Cannoneer play. Meaning that when an NLK does their thing and they only have 3 cards on field, you stop the loop. Regardless, I don't know if that's actually good enough. Sure, you can also have access to Honolly, which is again great, but So now there's 5 decks on the list I could be playing, and I just keep on testing and testing and testing and testing. Right now, Luard is still at the top of my list. I don't know, it could be anything right now, and I only have 1 week and a half. However, I did get a buttload of experience with every single meta deck. There is not a single meta deck right now that I don't know by heart every fucking interaction, because I've been going between every single deck. So that is very handy. Regardless, I do need to make my choice and then practice even fucking more against every single matchup. So I have been playing around all the fucking relevant matchups, and essentially NLK is the best deck. That is confirmed. Like, NLK can brick, obviously, but if it doesn't brick, it wins. The Ange player needs to have the sickest fucking hand to deal with an NLK loop. Usually they don't. Thing is, if you play NLK, that means you will see a lot of NLK mirrors. So even if I take NLK, there is still a 50% chance that I will start losing in NLK mirrors and then just die. Unless I have the better NLK deck. And I believe that's what I have. Every single NLK deck seems to go something like this. You do your rides and then you stride into Balan, and next turn you do the loop. But what if you made an NLK loop deck that does the loop before that? You don't stride, ever. You ride grade 3 and your loop is live. That would essentially mean that you automatically win every single NLK mirror. All of them. This deck, it's something. It is something. Basically, you discard every single belief you held when it comes to deck building. Heals? Pfft. Monochrome cat for CC? You just discard everything. And then you build from the ground up. That's what this deck is. And so I will be testing even more now, but I'm fairly confident that I will be taking this to France. I will be facing NLK mirrors and just having the faster loop. I will be facing Luard and just crush them before they stride. I will be facing Ange, crush them before they stride. Any deck will fucking die. And then there's also the coin flip, or the dice roll. Who goes first? Well, if I go first, I do the loop on their grade 2. The deck loops on your opponent's grade 2 50% of the time. So I'm about to go run, but I still wanted to update you. Essentially, yesterday I thought I had the build, right? And so I started testing it. I had an Excel sheet where I said, if it works, if I win the game, I give it a little stripe. If I don't, I give it a little stripe. And so what quickly became obvious is that when I go first, it's less than 50% win rate. But if I go second, 90% win rate. So that is an issue, because that assumes that I can still be knocked out of Swiss. However, then I started looking at the Cardfight Wikia and going through every single card. Boy, did I find one. This card is absolute fucking insanity. If you open with this, you will fucking win. You will snowball so hard, so early, that the win condition is just set up. That is insane. And so after adding that card, 4, cutting some fat out of the deck and adding 4 of that card, the win rate went up to 90%, both going first and going second. Then me and Noman did another BCS simulator, as I've explained before, and I won the whole thing. Win, 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 loss, top 8, win, win, win. My only loss was when I opened with, I think, only grade 0s post mulligan, something stupid like that. Basically, he got the perfect rush and I didn't have anything in hand, basically. So I am training and testing non-stop for the past week. Like before that I was already going nuts, but now non-stop for the past week, and now I have another week and a half where I do nothing but this. That's also why I'm not uploading any videos apart from the weekly stream. I need to top 3 for Worlds. So if this keeps going like this is going to be the deck, and hopefully it works out. So today is the day. It is Friday. I'm about to leave for France. I have everything almost packed. I still need to get my playmat. So by now I have hundreds of games with this deck. I even have hundreds of games with Luard, so if I just change my mind last minute, I can do that as well. Basically, if my opponents don't understand the counter, I should have a 95% win rate. That is how bonkers this deck is. This deck is unstoppable if my opponents play regular Vanguard. However, if someone magically figures out a counter, I am ruined. Literally ruined. This deck has no ceiling. This deck has nothing it can do if my opponents figure out the counter. And the problem is this is a 2-day event. So if I do make top 8, then news will be going the rounds. So I wish this was a 1-day event because I could play all day and we go immediately to top 8 so no one has time. But so if they figure it out, then I'm ruined. The deck literally dies. Like, we tested it. I think I have a 0% win rate once someone figures it out, but as long as they don't, they die. And it's a very counterintuitive way of beating it, so I don't think anyone will try it. Regardless, it's gonna be very fucking scary. I just hope it works out, honestly. I am currently 4-0. I just had the worst matchup I can have, which is Gridora Gise. So we'll see how it keeps going, but looking good. I am currently 5-0. I just went up against Gilendio's Gise. I was like, why do I keep getting these awful matchups? Regardless, I'm 5-0 because he wrote grade 2 and I did my loop. Had to. I knew I had to do it then and there because Lacus Carina would have destroyed me. But instead I just did it. I am now 6-0, which means I should be going to top 8 no matter what happens right now. It was the NLK mirror, and as I said, the fastest NLK wins. I looped on his grade 2 with only 1 counter blast. The Rushy Boy loop, man, it's such a good variant. We'll see how it goes. So, we're in top 8 again with this hilarious homebrew. Now tomorrow is top 8 and I hate that it's a 2-day event. Like I said in the beginning, yesterday, the fact that it's a 2-day event means people right now can start talking in the hotels and figure out like what the hell is going on with that list. And I just hope no one realizes until it's too late, essentially.